What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here, and we officially have kicked off interviews for this all season. And listen, this was the first guy I messaged in the all season, man. I was looking at the All American list. You already know what conference I rock with. The Missouri Valley is light years ahead of everyone else at FCS football, and I got my guy Jaleel McLaughlin, running back for Youngstown State. Listen, this guy was a first-team All-American in the best conference in FCS football. His second All-American choice, and also was on the newcomer team for the MVSC this spring. And also, he is a top 15 running back all time in terms of career rushing yards in NCAA history. So, Jaleel, man, I appreciate you giving me some of your time, man.
Oh, yes, sir. No problem. Anytime.
But, man, so listen, I got to ask. We'll start with where your career started. That was Notre Dame College at the D2 level. And I just listed off all your stats. And anyone listening might be asking, how did Jaleel McLaughlin end up at the D2 level? Why did you decide to go to Notre Dame College? And kind of talk about your recruiting process coming out of high school.
Okay, so my recruiting process coming out of high school, I first started off, I only picked up my first offer was West Virginia State. And then, that kind of starts to turn into schools in the same conference as West Virginia State to try to reach out to me. So Charleston University reached out, and also and then Notre Dame College came along. But I went on official to Charleston University, and I was actually about to commit to Charleston University. But the head coach came to me and gave me a call the next day as soon as I was about to commit. And he told me that he wanted me to play safety and our cornerback instead of running back. So Notre Dame College of Ohio was my only school that wanted me to play running back, and that's why I went. That's what landed me in Notre Dame College. I wanted to, do something with the ball in my hands and stuff like that. Everyone else was offering me as a defensive back or a safety and stuff like that. So that's how I got to Notre Dame College.
Oh, man. And hey, it paid off. You bet on yourself. A two-time finalist for the Harlan Hill Trophy. That's the top. That's like the Heisman at the D2 level for you guys that don't know. This guy finished second and third back-to-back years. Okay, do you feel a little snubbed you didn't win it when you finished second in 2019?
I don't know about a little snub, man. Those guys that won it, congrats to those guys. And I think that, they maybe deserved it a little bit. And I think that they did a very outstanding job also. So, I don't feel snubbed, but, of course, I wish I would have been able to take home those awards, because that would have been very special for Notre Dame College also, to have someone take that home. And I think that would have been great if I was able to do that. So definitely, I wish I would have grabbed that.
Yeah, for sure, man. So then you decide to head to Youngstown State after 2 seasons at Notre Dame College. What played into your decision to go to Youngstown State, and why did you choose Youngstown State as your destination? And also, who recruited you when you announced your intentions to transfer?
So I decided to transfer because everything that was going on with COVID and stuff like that. I thought it might be hard to play football at Division II level. Is my the honest truth. And then it was a quick decision. I mean, it was a very hard decision, honestly. And then yeah, that's how that happened. And I came to as soon as I entered into the transfer portal here, Youngstown State reached out, and that's what Coach Phillips, and all he preached was a family organization. That's all I've seen since I've been here and stuff like that. There's been a lot of other schools that recruited me, such as Duke and Rutgers, and a lot of those colleges also were recruiting me. But Youngstown State pulled the trigger, and they welcomed me in great, and I'm very grateful for it.
Absolutely. And they have a long history of running backs, man. I believe you're their first team All-American in 6 years at the running back spot, man. So Youngstown State produces running backs at a very high level. Is there any pressure playing for a program like Youngstown State? They're in arguably the best conference in FCS, 4 national titles in their history, man, like that background says. Is there any pressure playing for a historic program like a Youngstown State?
I would say that that's the reason why I wanted to come, was to play in the best conference and to be able to play against the best week in and week out, is what I'm grateful and able to do here in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. I think that it's been a blessing to be able to play in the atmosphere at Youngstown State, and I think that it's what you do as a football player. I think that I come in, I try to work as hard as I can so that I can sustain the Youngstown State football culture, and also give the fans a show, which is what they want to see, and that's what I try to take in every day when I'm working out. So pressure, I don't know about pressure, but I think that, it's definitely great to be able to play against the best week in and week out and also be able to perform.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, the other question, man, that a lot of people have, there's this misperception. I mean, we also cover P5 football on this show, and a lot of those fans don't really, watch a lot of FCS. And then as it goes down, it gets less and less. But we've seen a lot of upsets. I mean, the FCS had the most upsets over the Power Five this year in the history of football. And then the D2 level, we saw West Florida knock off McNeese. We've seen some of these D2 teams make some moves. For you, though, in terms of speed, size, coaching, what are the biggest differences you saw between FCS and high-level D2 football?
I think that, at the end of, football is football at the end of the day. I think that, you have to perform. You have to come in, whether that's D2, D3, FCS, you have to come and you have to perform. You have to play, your heart out to be respected on the football field. And I think that, but it's definitely been a change of pace at the FCS level with me being able to have to identify blicks and coverages, and that's what Youngstown State has helped me do here. But I think that it's kind of a big difference, from Division II, just off the standpoint of, you have guys that are bigger and stronger, and like it's the Missouri Valley Football Conference is, one of the best, so I think that, it's a great challenge, it's a big step up, and I'm thankful for the challenge.
Absolutely. And that's where I wanted to go next, man. Listen, the Missouri Valley Conference, everyone knows that. I mean, you guys, national champions, South Dakota State runner-up last year, North Dakota State, they've won every national title for like the past 10 years, it feels like. There's the highest level of football is played in that conference. Can you describe for our listeners and me, man, what is that grind like? Because, I mean, everyone calls it the SEC of the FCS. Every week, anybody could beat I believe that you guys got like 6 teams in the playoffs, man. So for you, what is the grind like week in and week out in the MVFC?
I would say it's definitely, it could be a grind. We have, teams that are in our conference have beat, the Power Five, the FBS, it's out or played with the Power Fives and SBS. It's just outstanding. It's definitely a grind, but it's what you want for in football. You want to play against the best week in and week out, and here at the Missouri Football, Valley Conferences, man, it's what you get. It's the best it's top tier football. I think that, I played against, a lot of other teams and stuff like that. And I think that, playing here, man, in the Missouri Valley Football Conference has been the toughest, I've been able to play. And I think that that's what I came here for. And that's what I came to do. So I definitely think it's a grind, it's definitely, but it's fun. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, you guys beat Incarnate Word this year, who now is in the second round of the playoffs. We saw South Dakota State beat Colorado State by 20 points, just disrespectfully beat them. I mean, there's been a lot of big upsets this year. You and I got into the playoffs at like 5-6 or 6-5 this year, so you're absolutely right there, man. But listen, you came into the spring season, and we've had a lot of FCS players on here, and everyone said it was so tough to have to put off a fall season, play in the spring. But for you, this was your first ever year at Youngstown. First ever season at the FCS level, you still found a way to make the All-American list in the MVFC, man. How tough was the spring season for you coming into Youngstown State with COVID and all the uncertainty surrounding the season?
It's funny because it's funny that you asked this question, because I was just talking with my brother, and I transferred to Youngstown State in the spring, and I also, January 6th is when I got on campus, and we started to have camp about a week and a half to 2 weeks later. And actually, my first day of actual football camp at Youngstown State, I actually caught COVID for the first 2 weeks of camp. Wow. So it's like it's me coming to transfer, and I wanted to be able to show that I could play, but I mean I caught COVID, and that's how hard that it was. So I had to be able to learn the playbook from Zoom calls and stuff like that. Coming into a new program, so it was very different. Is what I would say. It was very different, but at the end of the day, God has a plan. So it's like he takes you through these trials, for a reason. And I think that, that's another reason why, Youngstown State, I think that we're going to only grow because we went through a lot of people catching COVID during the season of the spring and stuff like that. And we weren't really able to, bond as closely as, we have in the fall. So I think that, the sky's the limit for Youngstown State throughout because of all the obstacles that we had to, overcome. So I think that, it'll be nothing but great moving forward. But yeah, definitely with spring and the COVID and everything, man, I'm just, it makes you think, wow, how great it makes you once you actually get out there on the football field, be very thankful because, next tomorrow might not be able to do it for 2 weeks, because of these rules. And I think that, that's what I'm thankful for, honestly, just to be able to play and step foot on the football field. It made me step back and realize, like, wow, this is really a blessing.
Right. And I mean, you guys kicked your season off with a huge win over Incarnate Word. Cameron Ward is a Walter Payton of the award finalist, man. Y'all get a big win. It was tough down the stretch, though. There was a lot of close games that I thought Youngstown could have won if one or two plays would have went the other way. But for you, man, what were your biggest takeaways of the season, and how would you grade your performance this year in terms of on the field stuff?
I would grade my performance. I grade my performance on wins and losses. I try to do whatever I can to help Youngstown State win, and a lot of those games I wasn't able to do that. I try to help Youngstown State get wins. That's my number one goal for coming here. I wanted to help Youngstown State get wins, so that's how I would grade my performance. So I would grade it off for a record. So I think that I have a lot that I have to improve on. I have to get smarter. I have a lot of stuff I have to do that's gonna try to help Youngstown State get wins, and that's my biggest takeaway. I have to get better.
Absolutely. And so I mentioned at the beginning of the show, man, you officially entered the top 15 in NCAA history with over 6,500 career rushing yards, man. For you, what does that mean to you? Like when you hear that, does it register to you that you are arguably one of the top 15 running backs to like step on the field in terms of career production, man? What does that mean to you as a player?
I don't know if it, registered yet because I feel like I'm not done. I feel like I'm not done. So I think that, I have a lot more that I'm trying to accomplish and stuff like that. But, I think that I'm also looking at it as a blessing, man. Like only 50, 14 other people has done it, so I think that, man, that's just a blessing from God, man. And I want everyone to know that, no matter what size or anyone tell you are, or maybe you shouldn't do this, maybe you shouldn't do that. That, man, you have to work hard day in and day out and trust the man above, man. And I think that he'll lead the way. And this is, I think that is a testament, of God's work is what I would say. And also I had a lot of, guys around me that did a great job with blocking and stuff like that also, and I'm just thankful for, it. I think that, it's a big, it's a big, it's a really, really big goal, an obstacle that I'm trying to overcome with, being able to move on and do better things, on the football field. And I think that, this is just, I'm not done yet is what I would say.
And I like to hear that. So I want you to take a step back with me, man. Like evaluate yourself when you first stepped onto Notre Dame College's campus to the Jaleel McLaughlin that we have sitting here right now. How has your game evolved since you first stepped on foot to college campus to this year being a first team All-American in the MVSC?
I would say, so you're saying from Notre Dame College to Youngstown State?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, sir. So
Yep.
I would say from when I first stepped foot on campus, I was just talking with Coach Terry Crissetti, and once I first stepped foot on Youngstown State campus, I weighed 170, and now I've gotten up to 185 and stuff like that. So that just shows how Youngstown State, is able to implement, me and help me get bigger and stronger and faster. And I think that, I feel like, man, I honestly feel like my game is getting better, is what I would say. I think that I'm not declining. I think that I'm going up because since I've been here, I feel like I'm getting stronger in the weight room. I feel like I'm getting smarter, being able to identify coverages and where blitzes are coming from and stuff like that. And, man, I think that my game has evolved tremendously since I've gotten here to Youngstown State. And that probably is a big testament also to playing against the best every week, in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. And I think that, man, that's what I came to do, and I'm happy about that.
Man, I like to hear that. So, looking at yourself as a player, so I mean, like, if you were scouting yourself, what would you say are your biggest strengths as a player right now?
I would say, being able to make people miss in speed is what I would say. That's what I try to work on day in and day out. So I think that's what I would say is speed and being able to make people miss and also vision is what I would say. That's what I try to work on a lot.
And listen, I've asked this question to a lot of players now, and some of them are a little hesitant to get too much into it. You don't have to give away all your secrets, man, to all those defenses in the Missouri Valley. But what do you think is one thing you need to improve on to take your game to that next level?
What I would say maybe, um, I would say, well, that's a tough question. What would I say? I would say maybe, trying to be more stout in pass protection is what I would say. Maybe trying to be more stout in pass protection, or being able to identify blitz so I can get my offensive lineman to go to where the blitz is coming from, so that I could get out into a route and route run and stuff like that is what I would say.
Hey, that's fair. I know a lot of running backs speak on the pass protection aspect. It's the biggest thing from high school to college that you have to evolve because I mean the linebackers get bigger and faster and stronger. But looking at film study, man, that's one thing that always interests me with football players is I love going back and watching film on the games of each weekend, breaking down the X's and O's for you. One, how much film do you watch in a week preparing for a game? And two, when you first turn on a film, what are the first two or three things that you look for in the defense when you're scouting them?
I try to watch at least, what would I say, at least an hour and 30 minutes a day. Once I get back to my room, I'm after working out and everything. I try to watch, a bunch of different film every night, so that I can know my opponent. And what I will watch, I will watch like I'll watch definitely D line play first is what I would watch. How good they are at the defensive line, because that's a really big major part in the game. And then I'll watch, how how they maneuver their defenses. So if a blitz is coming from here, where would the safety be on the hash? Or where would the safety be if the corner is coming? The safety is going to be, over top. Is he slightly over the top, or is he hiding his coverage a little bit more? I look at those to try to get blitz keys to see where my eyes should be in pass protection, or if I can get my offensive lineman to slide into pass protection, and stuff like that is what I really look at. And I also look at the linebackers also. I try to see the linebackers' weakness, and stuff like that. So yes, sir.
Oh
That's what I
man,
look at first.
I like to hear that, man. Listen, I could talk film with you, and I had to like stop myself because every time I like prepare for an interview, I just want to like pull film and like go over play by play. But we don't got that type of time. But man, these next questions are about you as a player, man. To talk about yourself, sell yourself to everybody. But for you first, which NFL running back do you model your game after the most?
Um, what would I say? I try to grab, a lot of different things from a lot of different running backs. I try to watch a little bit of I like Dalvin Cook a lot. I think Dalvin Cook is a really good back, a good all around back. I think that Alvin Kamara is a great back also. But I don't know if I try to, model my game after those guys. I think that they do a good job in what they do, but I think that if I try to, I try to be the best of myself I could be, but I think that those guys, there's a lot of good running backs that are doing really good, and I think that. But the number two guys that I really like to watch is Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara. I like those guys a lot.
Hey man, those are two really good choices. If I mean, they're at the top of the NFL right now for a reason. But for you, man, this one I always try to pick one for each position I interview. What's more important to a running back, speed or vision?
Vision, vision by far. I think that vision can take you a long way, man. Vision can take you a really long way, because if I think that your speed, if you're just running somewhere, to try to, just you could be running into a wall. You have to be able to see, okay, they're slashing across my face. I'm going to cut back this way. I'm going to cut back that way, and you don't always have to have, that much speed. You have, but I think that vision is definitely essential to be able to play running back.
Oh man, I like to hear that. That's the answer I would give. Speed's always like the fancy things. Like if you ask like a fan, they're like, "Man, that running back's got so much speed." They never talk about the vision, even though that's gonna, like you said, is gonna take you farther. But man, I remember when when I was playing, there was always like one song I would listen to. That would be my only pregame routine. I had like one song I had to listen to right before I went on the field. For you though, do you take it further? Do you have to lay your uniform out? Do you have to wear a certain thing? Walk me through your pregame routine on game days.
Yeah, so it's funny. I'm a bit of a picky guy. So I wear the same thing. I wear the same thing week in and week out. I try to wear the same thing. If I play, unless if I played, or we lost or I played terrible. I wear the same thing each week and stuff like that. And I have to listen to Phil Collins in the air tonight before every game, and I also I have to pray before I go out. When we're locked up and stuff like that, before we run out, I have to pray. And I have to thank God for allowing me to play the game, and also and stuff like that, and show ask God, just please watch over me and my team and everything like that. I have to do that before I step foot on the football field and stuff. So that's my pregame routine. I have to listen to Phil Collins. I have to wear the same thing, week in, week out, mostly, and then I have to pray before I go out.
Man, I like the song choice, man. Like that. That is a. Hey, let's listen. I'll give you that. That one would get me pumped up too. But yeah, I like the song choice a lot. But for you, man, when you're looking at you as a player, what is the number one mistake a defense or just a certain player like a linebacker? What is the number one mistake someone can make against you when they're going heads up with you?
What would I say? That's a tough question. I don't really know. I don't really know. I don't really know what number one mistake they can make. Maybe, I think that as defense, once you blitz, once you blitz a lot, I think that opens up running lanes. Is my honest choice. So I would say, maybe not to do that, but I mean, I don't know. That's what I would say.
That's all fair. And listen, I've watched a lot of your film, man. If y'all come half stepping in the open field, my guy's gonna make you miss. I promise. You do not want to come think you're just gonna tackle this man in the open field. You are not gonna do it easily. But man, listen, football. Listen, I played O-line, so there's a lot of trash talk because I got the same guy for 60 minutes in front of me. For you though, are you a big trash talker during the game, or are you the type of guy where I got to talk to you first to get you kind of fired up for you to talk back?
Yeah. I won't say nothing, man. I honestly won't say nothing. I'm not a trash talker at all. I think that I try to let my game speak for me. I don't really talk a lot, but even if you say something, I'll probably just look at you and just shrug it off or something like that, and then try to just run as hard as I can the next play. That's how I try to talk with my game and stuff like that. But I don't have nothing against the trash talking or anything like that. But I just don't. I just try to stay focused and locked in because there's multiple times a trash talker could get you out of your game and stuff like that, and I try to just stay focused and locked in. So no, I'm not much of a trash talker at all.
Hey, listen, we've had a few running backs on here. A lot of the running backs, like, it seems to go by position. Every DB I've had on here, they're like, you have to talk trash to play DB. But the running backs are kind of like, we got our own thing going on. We're going to just run the football. We'll worry about it later. But looking back in your career, man, you've played at, the Missouri Valley. You played at the D2 level. Even you can go back to high school if you want. For you, who are some of the best defensive players you've ever faced in a game?
Who would I say? I would say best defensive player. Oh man, I can't remember his name, but it was actually a guy from that played linebacker for at Division II level. He was actually supposed to go to a D1, but he was number 6 for Glenville State. I can't remember his name, but he played at Division II level. He was a really good linebacker. Man, it seemed like everywhere I went, he was right there. I think that he was a really good linebacker. We also have a lot in this conference and stuff like that also. But yeah, I would say going back to my Division II days would be number 6 from Glenville State is what I would say. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I can, but I don't want to mispronounce it or anything like that. So.
Oh yeah, no, I feel you, man. I feel you, and everyone can go look it up if y'all really want to know the name. They got, I think they got it. But man, look, everyone's got their own type of internal motivation, external motivation that keeps them going. For you, when you suit up on Saturdays, man, when you're practicing on like Wednesday nights and you're tired and worn out, what keeps you motivated year in and year out?
When I was a little bit littler, my grandma and also my cousin Lavelle Sloan passed away of a brain tumor. So I think that I try to think of him a lot. I try to think of him because he was also really good at football. He taught me a lot of stuff growing up and stuff like that. So I would think once I get tired and stuff like that, I think about him. And I think about all the tough times me and my family has also been through. So that we can, so I try not to let my mind, get bothered. I think that's what keeps me motivated is my cousin and my grandma that, who passed, and I try to do a great job for them on the football field so that they could be proud of me. I actually asked God that also, and that's what I try to do. And I also try to, make sure, make people happy by me playing the game, and that's what keeps me motivated year in and year out.
Oh man, great answer, man. Great answer. But listen, eventually you're going to take your talents to the next level, man. Head of the NFL. If a scout, a GM, anyone asks you what is their franchise getting in Jaleel McLaughlin, what are you telling them?
A hard worker. A hard worker and a guy with a lot of heart. I think that night in and night out, I try to go out there and I try to work as hard as I can so that I can become better. I don't see a limit for my football game. I think that I can only get I could try to only get better and better every day, and that's what I try to take with me is a hard work ability. And never be complacent. I think that I try to work as hard as I can every single day, and I think the NFL franchise will get a hard worker and a guy with a lot of heart.
Jaleel, man, I appreciate you joining me, man. Gave me 30 minutes on a Friday, man. I can't thank you enough. But man, this is your time. Where can they find you on social media? Any companies, NIL deal, anything you want to talk about? Any family, friends, anything you want to give a shout out to? This time is yours, man.
So you guys can follow me on Instagram at shifty.lil. That's shifty.lil LLLEEL. And then on Twitter you guys can follow me at speedkills2k_. And shout out to Jay Arnold. That's with NIL. I think they're doing a very good job. Shout out to my coaches and here at Youngstown State. And everyone watching. Shout out to my mom and my family, and also shout out to the man above. Thank you guys for being able to have me here and have such great people connect because of the sport of football. And I thank you, man. Thank you for having me here. It's been great. It's been outstanding. I'm very thankful, man.
No, man, listen, you are always welcome back on the show, man. Like, everybody I have on the show, I follow closely. Like, I will hit you up in the DMs after a big game, man. Tell you congrats, and we'll definitely have to get you back on here, man, when you head off to the NFL, man. I'll be rooting for you and definitely be following what Youngstown State has moving forward, man. But guys, go make sure to follow Jaleel. Listen, man, the bigger he gets his social media and following, the better and bigger NIL deals he can get, and also the better opportunity he has to further his career in football, man. So always make sure to support the athletes, man. That's what it ultimately is all about, guys. And also, like the video, subscribe to us, man. We'll have more interviews coming later this week, along with bowl game previews. And of course, we're covering the FCS playoffs in full swing now as we're getting into the quarterfinals coming up this next weekend. But guys, for Jaleel, myself, and the Blue Bloods, we are out for right now.